What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in. And in today's video, we're going to be going over some of the most important sales skills to have when it comes to wholesaling real estate. So make sure you stick around to the very end of the video so that way you can up your sales skills and ultimately lock up more deals at a better price and make more money. Stick around to the end of the video to learn these sales tips. Also, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you go down below, hit the red button and subscribe to the channel. It helps me reach more people and impact more lives, so I'd really appreciate it if you go subscribe. Other than that, let's get right into it. First, I want to cover the sales roadmap. So, how does it work when you're working through a deal, and how should you treat selling somebody on your product or service? What you need to do is you need to look at it as a process, such as the straight line theory. Jordan Belfort came up with the straight line theory of selling, and it's a great way to look at a sales process and a great way to look at selling anybody on a product or service. Basically, you have your open and then you have your close. This is where you get the customer to buy or they don't buy. Your close and you have your open, your intro. So when you're doing that, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to build a process along this straight line and get the customer to follow you along the straight line to the promised land, where they either buy from you or don't, and hopefully you're good enough at sales that you close them and they buy. So what happens when the seller starts telling you about something random or telling you they don't want to buy or they have a problem with this or an objection? What happens is they're not on that straight line anymore, they're up here. They're telling you, I don't like what you're telling me, that doesn't work for me. They're up here. So you need to find a way to get them back to your straight line by rebuttaling them with something that fixes their objection and brings them back to the straight line so you can move them closer to the close. Or let's say you're asking them about the condition of the property and you were asking clear, concise questions to get the answers you needed back, and you didn't want to waste time with a bunch of rambling, but they start rambling, oh, we added 10 feet to our patio and the AC this, and we had a guy come out and he did this and he painted that, and all this rambling. They're off your straight line because they're not following your straight line with the questions you want to ask. So you need to find a way to circle back to your questions, get them back on the straight line so you can move them along your process to the close. A lot of times that happens when working with elderly customers. They want to ramble about this or that, but you got a process that you need to work through. So you need to circle them back, bring them back to that straight line. So whenever you're selling and whenever you're on sales calls, keep that straight line process in mind. And that comes to play with your sales process. And normally a sales roadmap goes like this. First off, you're going to establish rapport. Now, what does it mean to establish rapport? It means to create a relationship with the customer, so that way you're able to put more pressure on them in a soft way and be able to do what you need to do, but you're able to do that without upsetting them. You're able to sell them without upsetting them because you've built a relationship with them. Now, what does it mean to build rapport? It means to be talking about anything other than business. That's how you build a real relationship with anybody. So I don't mean talking about the house. I don't mean talking about numbers or your offer. I mean to talk about other things, things about life. Here's a simple analogy that you can use to always remember how to build rapport. It's called the FORE technique, F-O-R-E. And these are 4 things that anybody can talk about: family, occupation, recreation, and education. 4. So if you can talk to a seller about family, about their occupation, their recreation, or their education, you're going to be able to build rapport about any of those topics. And pretty much anybody you're on the phone with can talk to you about those 4 things. You can build rapport through those 4 things. So that's a great tip to keep in mind when it comes to building rapport. Keep that FORE, F-O-R-E technique in mind. Next, you're going to need to find the need. You're going to want to try to find out why the prospect needs your product or service. And then the reason you're doing this, you're finding the need, you are collecting data points on the customer. What you're going to use with these data points, with this information that you find out about the customer, find out about their needs, you're going to use those data points, that information, to sell them on your service. You're going to personalize the way you sell them based on what they need. So if you find out that, she needs to sell her house because she got divorced from her husband and now she wants to sell her house, what you can do is you can tell them a story about how a week ago we were working with Tanya and we finally closed and bought her house, and she was getting divorced as well, and we were actually really able to help her out, and this is how. We did X, Y, and Z for her. Now we just related our sales approach to the customer's exact situation. So that's why you want to find the need, collect the data points, collect the information on exactly what their situation is, what their needs are, so you can personalize your approach to selling them. And that's how you will have so much more success when trying to get somebody to purchase from you, to buy, when you're trying to close somebody. So there you go. Next, you're going to build the value of your service. It's very important to make your product or service more valuable than the dollar amount, right? That's when you sell, and that's when you get somebody to buy. You make your product or service worth more to the customer than the dollar amount. That's when they are ready to open up their wallet and spend. It's when your product or service has just become more valuable than the dollar amount. So, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make that customer have a 10 out of 10 trust with everything about your situation. You want them to have a 10 out of 10 trust and confidence with your product or service. Then you're going to want to have them to have a 10 out of 10 trust with the company. And then you're going to want to have them have a 10 out of 10 trust and confidence with the salesperson yourself. So if you can have them be as close as possible to a 10 out of 10 of those three categories, they are going to feel comfortable enough to buy from you. So build that value of your service. Then next, you're going to go creating the desire. Create the desire for them to want your service. You just built the value. Now tell them why this will be so good for them. That's creating the desire. Make them want your service. And then what you got to do in order to get to the close is the next step. You got to overcome objections. You're not going to be able to close somebody. You're not going to be able to sell them. They're not going to buy from you unless you remove all objections. Think about this. Here's the finish line, the close, and in order to get to the finish line, you have to remove all the people, all the defense in your way. You got to clear the way to the close, to the finish line. And all those objections are the things that are in the way from the finish line, in the way from the close. So one by one, you need to rebuttal them and move them out of the way so you can actually get to the close. So that means practicing your rebuttals and going, and it's hands-on experience of seeing what people object to you. And they say, we don't want this because this doesn't work for us because of this, and learning what's the best way to respond to all these different objections. And I promise you, after you start trying to wholesale real estate for a decent amount of time, there is only so many objections that these sellers come up with. So after you've been in the game for 3 to 6 months wholesaling real estate, there really isn't much new that's going to hit you in the face that you don't know how to rebuttal to. So once you learn pretty much how to get around all these different objections, there really isn't more that pop up randomly. So you're going to be able to overcome all objections and push them out of the way and get to the close. So now you're at the close. You need to present your offer once again and then transition into a closing question. So what that means is you are going to want to present why your product and service is so good, and then you are going to want to transition into a closing question, and you want to put pressure on now. You want to close a deal now, not tomorrow, not the next day, because guess what? If you wait till tomorrow or if you wait till the next day, they might go sell to somebody else. They might change their mind that they don't want to sell. We're trying to do deals today, now. So what that means is I want you to always ask your closing question with a, hey, does this sound like this is something you're ready to get the process started with today? Today. I want you to put today on all of your closing questions because you want to get deals today. You want to close deals today. So there you go. There are some sales tips for you guys to better your sales skills when wholesaling real estate. I have tons more sales training and sales documents available at jacobblank.com/shop. If you go to jacobblank.com/shop, you are able to purchase and download every single sales training document that I use in my office to train my sales guys on how to lock up deals for my company. So if you want to go through the same sales training documents that we use here to build a multi-million-dollar wholesaling real estate business, go download them at jacobblank.com/shop. There's a link in the description for you to access these sales training documents. But other than that, I hope this video was helpful for you to learn some more about sales and for you to better your sales skills so you can lock up more deals and lock them up at a lower price and make more money. But other than that, if you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button. Also, go down below, hit the red button, and subscribe to the channel. Helps me reach more people and impact more lives, so I'd really appreciate it if you go subscribe. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.